The Bhutan.
So this is really bad timing because currently, John, the Emmys are on television.
The daytime Emmys?
Nope. The 74th annual Primetime Emmy Awards show with your host, Kenan Thompson.
Oh, I love Kenan Thompson.
Yes. And I can tell you the first award was just handed out to Michael Keaton for limited series Dope Sick, which I've told you and I mentioned here on the show. It's on Disney Plus, and I would highly recommend people watch it.
Yeah. I saw the icon for it. What's it about? I don't know what it's about. It's about drugs?
That's a very oversimplification. But essentially, it's based on true stories about the Purdue family who made oxycodone and how they were essentially pushing it out and getting people hooked on oxy throughout the aughts, the middle 2000s and whatnot, and how this family kind of rose, but the struggles of middle America being hooked to this drug. And the manipulation that the salespeople were getting the doctors to do to prescribe it. So it just became secondhand nature. Anyways, Dope Sick is a fantastic series. It's only like 6 or 7 episodes, but I would highly recommend.
One of those short and sweet ones.
And it's really good.
Chris? What's up, Lewis? And Michael Keaton is the star? Like he's like the main guy?
He's one of the
All right. Cool. All right. That's a quick recommendation before we get rolling. Rob's talking about the Primetime Emmys are going on right now. Welcome to the Sidekick Show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you have not joined us for the live show, and this is on the repeat, we are live every Monday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a lot of fun. Jump in on the chat. We try to have a lot of fun on here. I see, I don't know if there's icons. Will these little emojis show up?
That's from Twitch.
Yeah, that's cool.
Huh.
All right, we'll have to get some. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. So yeah, if you are not watching us live, please join us. It's a lot of fun to get in the chat. So we like to talk about all kinds of fun stuff on this show. We're going to be running down the news, and we're going to be asking you what you got up to this weekend, and then we're going to talk about our discussion, which is going to be sequels that are better than the originals, I think, or worse, or maybe killed the franchise, or who knows what we're going to get into after that. But let's start with how was your weekend, folks? A lot of things dropped. A lot of things happened, a lot of content. I don't know if any movies are playing, Rob. Did you even look at the Cineplex or whatever website you'd normally do for movies to even consider going to it?
Yeah, so it's been a hot minute since we've been on, John. We took last week off. It was the long weekend. So even though it's like, hey, what did you do this weekend? I will say what I did last weekend, John. I took my son to see Jaws reissued in theaters, and it is still in theaters. And dude, I'm telling you right now, I would totally recommend people going and checking it out in the theaters. It's in 3D, but it's not like a cheesy 3D conversion. It adds just such a crazy amount of depth to it. It's amazing. Hey, Sarah. So I would definitely recommend watching Jaws in the theater again. I loved it. My son loved it.
It was on your summer movie list, right? And I believe it is streaming on at least Crave. I think it's on multiple services, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
I know. And so you're saying, so why would I pay $13 to go to the theater?
No, free. Theater experience. Theater experience would be worth it.
There are certain movies that when they get re-released in theaters, you just want to go. And man, I gotta tell you, it was awesome taking my kid with me and watching. We both jumped at one scene in the movie. I completely forgot he was there. So so that's what I did.
So he didn't find it. He is of a younger generation. He didn't find it dated. He could.
Well, he thought the beginning was a little bit dated, but then he got really into it. Once they're on the boat and they're after the shark, he was really into it. So you're right, man. This current generation, they're like anything pre 2005, it's dreck. But he was cool with it. So
all right. So that's I think that's really cool. I still have yet to see this movie, so now that it's in theaters. Maybe I'll get to it. Before we get more into our thing, I forgot to show this. Since we're going to be talking sequels here, I did pre-order the Top Gun 4K Steelbook. Amazon. We have an affiliate link in the bottom. It's a great way to support the show without it actually costing you anything. You can use some of our affiliate links, and I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot about Maverick. But we want to hear about your weekend, folks. So if you guys have watched any of the new stuff, Rob, did you watch anything this weekend? Then, so you went to see Jaws in the theater. And there's nothing else in the theater right now, I feel like, except for Top Gun Maverick, maybe. Which you can still go see. Awesome. Did you want me to start? I got a show that I watched that.
But wait, quickly, did you buy yourself a 4K player?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I did this last time. When DVDs were coming out, I bought a copy of Blade on DVD before I had any means of playing it whatsoever. And it was great. I had it on my shelf. I stared at it. I opened it was when they came in those cardboard boxes with the little plastic tab.
Yeah.
And they came with those little cardboard proof of purchases in the spine, which did nothing. But shout out to those. If you collected those and you have a jar full of those, that's awesome.
Lewis makes a good point. You can watch 4K on your PS5 and Xbox Series X. And I have a PS5 now, John.
Look at you.
So I might be having to pick up.
Do you have a 4K Maverick. TV though?
I do have 4K TVs, but my PS5 is hooked up to my plasma, which is just as good. So it's
yeah. I think we already had like this discussion. Like some of the streaming services say things are in 4K, but you're not going to get it because your internet is not as crazy as I don't know, some of the overseas or whatever. So your only way to truly enjoy 4K is to buy a copy. So I'm going to rattle off 2 shows, Rob, before you get rolling. I don't know if you watched Mike. It's
Hulu. On my list.
Yeah, which is the Mike Tyson kind of retelling of his life story. Episode 1, it's actually pretty cool. It's kind of formatted like like those shows like Everybody Hates Chris and almost like Fresh Off the Boat, where he kind of goes through his past and it's almost kind of comically done. And it is by an actor playing Mike Tyson, so it's not actually Mike Tyson. So he's kind of doing the voice and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun.
I heard it was based on Mike Tyson about 10 years ago. Did a one-man play.
Yes, it looks like he's on stage and he's telling the audience this, and then they have the component of like young him and all these kind of things going through situations, and they kind of take a comical slant on a lot of stuff. Yeah. And then the other one I watched, I don't know if you saw this one pop up on Crave, Rob. American Gigolo, starring our guy John Brenthal. It's on episode 1. Did you check this out?
I didn't. I knew it's on there. He's looking very much like Richard Gere, who was the original American Gigolo. Is it good?
I thought it was actually really good. I don't know if it's just John Brenthal is an amazing actor, or he's a combination of he picks really great projects. But the idea is he was a gigolo, and he's framed for a crime he didn't commit. So he's supposed to go to jail for 25 years, gets exonerated at the 15-year mark. And it's about what he's going to do next with his life. And it's got a whole thriller element to it. So if you like him and you like kind of like crime thriller type things, 100% watch this. It's only on episode 1 so far, so you can get in there. And I see Jared Bruckheimer's name is up there as well. But those were 2, like I was glued to my seat watching American Gigolo.
That's cool. I do want to see it. I do want to see it.
Yeah, shout out to Chris. Yeah, I'm in one of the few rooms that's got a little bit of quietness to it. Or it's my room, and I just like all these stickers on the wall.
Which is very possible.
Yeah. So Rob, did you get a chance to check anything out?
I did. So I don't know if we're gonna talk about it, but there's a new show that dropped on Netflix this weekend, John. You might be wearing the hat. So do you want to talk about this now or no?
Yeah, we might as well. Okay, yeah. So we'll talk about a long-running show. So if you guys are also watching House of Dragon and Rings of Power, we're gonna check in with that after. But we're talking about Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
What season are we on, Rob? It feels like
That's
a minute.
5.
Season 5. We've had 5 seasons of this show that it has no business being this good. Would you agree on that?
I would agree. I will say though that I think that this is, for me, I found this to be one of the more weaker seasons.
Get out of here. Okay, I didn't finish it yet. Okay, so you guys chime in. Keep it spoiler light or spoiler free, because this only came out on Friday, I think.
Yeah, I'm not going to give anything away. It just, for me as an overall, I finished it last night with my son, but for me, I found it to be not as good for me that I really like season 4. So.
Oh, really? I'm almost the opposite. Season 4 kind of started off a little slow to me, and then they really kind of picked it up towards the end, and then the whole lead up to the ending was what really got me. But this season 4, I'm really liking it so far, but I'm only made a halfway point.
Okay.
But I just liked it. It's fantastically over the top and kind of silly in some of the things that happen.
Yeah.
And getting to a point where some story elements are unbelievable in reality, but this is not a reality show. This is a fun show that you can watch and just like have fun with. So I'm pretty happy with it. So I guess I'll have to check in with you when I get to the end. If anyone else finished the season, let us know what you thought overall. If you're on Rob's, you liking season 4 better, or you like this one better, or what you're feeling so far. If it's next on your list, let us know. It's a good point. I started to watch the show. So Sarah says, does everyone hate Daniel even more this season? I almost forgot he was in this show when I fired it up. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's in this show as well. So I don't know if they have to do something with Daniel, or if he does anything later this season that just kind of, I don't know if it's do you think it's the way he plays it, maybe, Rob? Or
I think it's
the storyline that he's on is just not as, I don't know if it's relatable or as fun as the other characters. I think it's the fact that we know the guy's like in his late 50s or whatever, and he's still dyeing his hair with brown and black highlights. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just found it, there's some characters in there I was just like, I'm over, I'm done. And now listen, we know season 6 in the bag. They finished filming season 6 over the holidays 2021 back to back.
So I mean, I am very much looking forward to season 6, but I kind of hope it rebounds. When we'll talk about it once you're done. It's not to say I didn't enjoy the season. It just, for me, didn't hit nearly as hard as season 4, or even season 3 for that matter. So,
really? Yeah. Season 3 I think was a monster. Really.
I will say though that Sarah said because Chosen is in it.
Yeah.
For me, probably like the redeeming quality of this season for me was this character returning. So
yeah, it's kind of neat to see. Sometimes you would have thought maybe an Asian character would be dictated to some kind of minor role. It's kind of neat to see that he's pretty in the mix for this season. I thought maybe it's going to be shows up and then that's it for him. So yeah, shout outs to Cobra Kai. So you guys, I guess watch it, and we're going to check back in, and we'll probably do full coverage of the season.
We should rewatch all the 3 movies. Nobody talks about the next Karate Kid, but we should watch.
No, you can't. I've done it. 1 and 2 are watchable. 3 is a disaster, and this show Cobra Kai does a really good job of making all those movies look amazing. So I look forward to what they do and what clips they steal from the next Karate Kid, because I think Pat Morita was still alive for that. So he's in that one, right, with the Hilary Swank. Yeah. So they're gonna pull something from there, and they're gonna make it look like this piece of gold, and then you're gonna go and watch it like Karate Kid 3 and think, oh man, Mike Barnes and the Terry Silver thing was really good, and then you go watch it and you're like, oh my god, this is a crazy disaster. But let's check in with some of the other shows that are going on, Rob. So I know you're still on or a member of the House of the Dragon.
Yes, I didn't see last night's episode though.
Oh, you're behind.
Because my son really wanted to finish Cobra Kai, and so we ended up plowing the last 4 episodes last night. So I haven't seen last night's House of the Dragon, and I won't be able to watch it tonight because, John, I'm old, man. After the show is done, I take a dog for a walk, and then I start to melt into the couch and fall. I usually fall asleep.
Right back to Cobra Kai after this.
But I am planning on watching it tomorrow. I have been really enjoying House of the Dragon.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. I'm still digging it. I don't know. Are you still doing the Rings of Power then as well?
I don't know what you're referring to. What show is this?
The Lord of the Rings show. I'm actually. I think they're on episode 3.
Yeah, they are.
That just aired, and I actually really liked episode 3. So if you guys are caught up on Rings of Power, let me know what you thought, how you're feeling. I feel like episode 3 really picked it up in a lot.
Yeah, you sent out a private message between Stu and I, and you said that I could tell your excitement for episode 3. Admittedly, John, it was somewhat contagious. I was like, "Wow, maybe I gotta check it out." I think what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna wait until later into this year, and watch it. So
yeah, I've got a couple friends who are like, I'm gonna forget everything that's going on, so they're gonna binge it. But what a fantastic time we live in when you got 2 major high budget fantasy shows going on at the same time. I feel like it's hard to compare them. Like if you told me like I could only watch one, I don't know. I feel like they're so different. So yeah, look. Let's check in here. Lewis has no interest in House of the Dragons. No interest in Game of Thrones. Yeah, fair enough. I haven't watched previous Game of Thrones seasons, and I'm watching House of the Dragon and liking it. So maybe it's worth giving a try. Fraser said he's still watching Rings of Power. I think he was a big fan of the show when we did our other coverage for it. Sarah's not digging either of them, I guess. So not in the fantasy realm. And let me see. Fraser's still liking it. Scott hard dislike for Rings of Power.
No. He's saying the hate for Rings of Power is a shame.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Yeah, I think he's disappointed that it's not getting the love that maybe obviously Scott probably has for the property.
Well, it's a shame that they had to do this delay on reviewing and stuff. And then the last show we'll just kind of check in on is She-Hulk. Rob, I assume you're up to date on She-Hulk.
Oh yeah. Man, I gotta say, this episode was hilarious. I think Scott said he got his wife to watch Marvel with She-Hulk.
Yeah,
I'm sure this is a great entry for any spouses who have zero interest in watching MCUs up and watching it.
Yeah, I purposely put it on when my kind of wife's in the vicinity, and she kind of checks in because it's kind of fun.
What's a kind of wife? Can you explain what that is?
I kind of put it on in the background when my wife's kind of wandering around. And she kind of checks it out. Yeah. So shout outs to Wongers. If you haven't seen it, we won't go too in depth to it, but I didn't think that someone, I don't know who this actress is, but someone could this is a very kind of stereotypical kind of character or caricature of a person, right? A social, a person that maybe we all know or have seen out and about. But she did it. Huh?
Keep going. Try to get your way through it. Go on, Tiger.
She did a really good job of making this character extremely likable. So much so that all the memes are popping up that everybody wants to see her get her own show or see her interacting with other characters. So shout outs to what was possibly a single episode cameo. I'm sure it's going to spiral into either multiple cameos or something else. Love this. Was it Madison? Madison with two N's and a Y?
That's not where you think it is.
But
I want to give a big shout out to Wong. Benedict Wong is just killing it. He was, for me, he seems to be the central figure in this phase 4 of the MCU, and I'm down for it, man. I'm happy with seeing more of Wong and how he's going through it. I'm thinking it's great. So.
Yeah. It's crazy that this character has become such a big part of all these things that we're seeing. Like he was in what are the part? Like he was in Shang-Chi. He was in the new Doctor Strange. Was he in Love and Thunder for a second? Maybe. I don't think so. Right?
Yeah, he was. I think.
Oh, look at that! He's everywhere.
Yeah. Right. He's like Roy Kent. He's here.
Roy Kent. Yeah, so Love and Thunder did drop on Disney Plus as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. Did you check out Pinocchio, Rob? I know we were funning on it.
I did not check Pinocchio.
And then there was a bunch of Cars shorts. I don't think I checked out any of those.
I also didn't. I didn't join. I didn't watch the new Thor: Love and Thunder. My son asked me if I had watched it yet. I said no. I do know that there's been some controversy with respect to some of the visual effects have been redone. And apparently it looks worse than it did in the theater.
I don't know how you make that judgment call and make it look worse. But maybe it's subject to opinion. But I don't know. That kind of sucks. That sucks. But I have heard a bunch of people checked it out. So we'll have to see. I don't know if everybody watched it yet. So we'll leave it for another week or so. Fraser said.
Oh, hey, John.
Yeah.
Real time. Julia Garner, who plays Ruth.
Yeah.
In the Ozarks. She won.
She won. She deserves it. 100% deserves it. Yeah. So we could almost do live coverage of the Emmys as we're going. But yeah, she as Ruth is probably one of the greatest characters in TV. Like if we were to make a list of the last 10 years of characters that we really loved or were really performed very well and made an impact, I think 100% Ruth is there, right, Rob? Like
I would say so.
Top 3 probably.
Yeah, and for those wondering, Matthew McFadden, who plays Tom in Succession, he won for Best Supporting Actor.
Okay, so, who's Tom? Is he the older brother?
No, he's no. He's married to the daughter.
Oh, he's the semi-goofy guy, right?
Yeah. Him and cousin Greg.
Yeah, all right.
Tom and Greg show.
Yeah. Shout out to that. Yeah, I haven't caught up on Succession, so if anyone's all caught up on Succession, let me know if it was worth it. I'm sure Rob's watched all of it.
Oh, I loved it. Great.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Sorry, I saw that Ruth had won, and I thought you'd want to.
No, definitely. I forgot that she had even been nominated. I remember reading it earlier this year. But yeah, Fraser points out that the She-Hulk end credits. Oh man, do you like how much do you look forward to catching that end credit on?
Yeah, because they're so fun. They're
yeah.
so fun, right? Like, yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. All right, cool. So thank you everybody for sharing your weekend. If there's anything else you watched and we didn't get to, let us know. I think Chris checked in and said he's watching Primal. I'm not sure the latest season of Primal. I saw another show that debuted on Netflix, The Imperfects or something like that. I don't know if anyone checked that out. It's like that people turn into animals and fight it out or something like that.
Okay. I have zero interest in that.
Yeah. I am watching Rick and Morty. They're on episode 2 or 3 now. I think it's a lot of fun. But let's get to the news and we'll get to talking about sequels because I'm sure y'all want to talk about your favorite sequels that not destroyed the originals, but are clearly chosen to be watched over the originals. So Rob, let me kick it to you.
Yeah,
for the news.
All right. Hey, John. This past weekend was D23, the annual Disney showcase. And we got a lot of cool news and trailers regarding the future of the MCU, both theatrically and on Disney Plus, as well as some stuff with the Star Wars universe. But we're going to run down some of the bigger news, okay? And if any special news that we don't mention, let us know in the comments. Star Wars, let's start off there. Fans got a new Andor trailer as the show drops on the 21st. There was a trailer for The Mandalorian Season 3 with a very generic 2023 release window. And The Bad Batch Season 2 will debut on January the 2nd of 2023. But the big news is casting news. And that was Iman Esfandi has been cast as fan favorite Ezra Bridger in the Ashoka series, which is currently filming right now with Rosario Dawson reprising her role as Ashoka. And one of the breakout stars of Squid Games, Lee Young-jae, has been cast as an unknown character in Star Wars, The Acolyte. Now, this is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets, John, from the dark side during the final days of the High Republic era. So, John, what are your thoughts on these new casting announcements, specifically the Ezra Bridger one? Because I know that one is what people were really looking forward to finding out.
Yeah. So they've cast this character. He was a major player, and if you watch the Rebels TV series, and my daughter's going crazy in the background here, but it's good that they cast this guy because now we're seeing the entire Rebels cast kind of start to appear, much to Andre's chagrin. But right. it looks he's a good looking kid. Looks like when I see him, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that makes sense. I wonder if they're going to dye his hair like the different color and maybe give him a bit of an orange hue because he looks kind of different in the show. But yeah, I'm down with it. I'm down with some more Rebels action. I don't know if you've tuned into the given any of the Rebels shows a chance.
Dude, come on.
I've been doing select episodes, so I've been like tuning into the story arcs that kind of tie into the stuff that is already being revealed in the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett and all that kind of stuff that we've already done. And it seems to be working really well. It's keeping my interest.
I'm glad it's working well for you and your rabbit ears. But for me, not so much. In MCU news, we got the trailer for Werewolf by Night, which looks to be this amazing black and white old school horror movie that's going to be released on October the 7th, starring Gael Garcia Bernal as a titular werewolf. We also got a sneak peek, John, at Man-Thing in the trailer. Which
Who's
is
Man-Thing?
There we are. Check that out, man. John, I gotta tell you, I don't know if you watched this trailer. I've watched it a couple of times. I'm actually pretty stoked for this. But what says you, my friend?
Oh, I think that this is cool. So if their gimmick is this black and white horror theme,
it is.
I think that's cool. Like, why not lean into that? Like, I liked. Some people didn't. Doctor Strange in the whatever Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, I love the horror slant. So I look forward to if this show is going to be along those lines. I think these shows really need to get genred. Like, we really like She-Hulk. It's a TV show, you said, right? Or is it a?
This? No. They call it a special presentation. So for me, I think it's a movie.
Okay.
But because in some places I've seen it's a show, other places saying no, it's a movie, a special presentation. So I think it's a one and done type thing. But it looks to me like it's an old school 1950s like horror movie, right? Like I'm all about this. I cannot wait for this. And you can't wait for Spider-Man.
Yeah, like, hey, you gotta Izzy, calm down. But yeah, the joke is call up your local comic store, not us. Call your other local comic stores and ask for to see their giant sized man thing.
Okay.
Or you say, hey, Rob, you're a big fan of Man Thing, right?
Oh, this is my friend, the little Ant-Man. All right, we got a trailer for Secret Invasion, which looks pretty cool, and the announcements of the Thunderbolts, which I'm going to be honest here, I'm a little let down by. The team consists of Yelena Belova, John Walker, a.k.a. U.S. Agent, Red Justice, Ghost, Taskmaster, the Winter Soldier, and although is he really I think it's called Bucky now, and Valentia Fontaine, which is a character played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. John, are those even in chat? What are your thoughts on the Thunderbolts as we see them on the screen right now? Because I gotta say,
do you want to say underwhelmed, but you kind of don't want to crap on people's parade, maybe?
Well, to quote the band Sloan, I was rather overwhelmed, if that's a word.
Overwhelmed? Yeah.
Underwhelmed.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever like some of these characters I never asked to see again. Like I do want to see John Walker again. And,
yes.
And Yelena and Winter Soldier or White Wolf or Bucky or whatever he's going to call himself now. Yeah. The other characters, maybe not so much, but you know what? This is where they can start playing around, right? They can bring in characters like this and do whatever they want with them.
Yeah, but I really feel like they're pushing like this Black Widow vibe on us to like say, no, guys, seriously, it was a good movie. When like 3 out of the 7 are from Black Widow, I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah, like, yeah, but I guess you couldn't like. Do you think they could have brought in another heavy hitter, like I don't know who you would bring in, like Chris Evans or something like that?
Well, no, not at all. But I think we've had enough villains, quote unquote villains in the MCU that they could have had other people. Like I don't know, man. I just like Ghost from like Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah. Like seriously, like what? Really? Like that's who we're bringing in here? I don't know, man. It just seems. I don't know.
Well, you already covered it. Underwhelming, or just I feel like it's missing a little oomph. But maybe once you see them go, so Lewis even says this isn't the entire cast, so maybe they have some rotating stuff.
What is Lewis? Him and Kevin Feige making casting listings together?
Lewis, who else is on there? Let us know.
Yeah. All right. Some quick hits here. We got confirmation that Matt Shankman is directing the Fantastic Four movie, but no cast announcements, despite the fact that the internet was wild with speculation. Captain America: New World Order dropped. We got a new logo for that, and Tim Blake Nelson is returning as the leader. John, last seen in the Incredible Hulk movie. Do you remember that when the blood drips onto his head?
He was the guy in the. Oh my god!
Yeah,
sure. Why not? Which Hulk? Sorry, which Hulk? The Ed Norton one?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So everything from like that we had email Blonsky or whatever, the Abomination show up in She-Hulk and everything now, and now they're bringing him back. So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, who else is left to bring back from that movie?
Liv Tyler.
Who played? Yeah, I was gonna say who played Betty. It was Liv Tyler, right?
Yeah.
All right, sure, bring her back.
We also got a lot of trailers were shown that we didn't get to see, John. We didn't get to see the Marvels, Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania, Ironheart, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which I actually think we're going to see in the next couple of weeks, considering that the movie is dropping in November. Yeah. Loki Season 2, John, Echo, and Daredevil Born Again released a new, I don't know what, a new logo or whatever.
Title card, I guess.
Yeah, sure. And obviously we know that Daredevil is showing up in this week's episode of She-Hulk. They made that big announcement. So Charlie Cox was interviewed by numerous people this week in numerous outlets, and he said that in some weird way, this Daredevil is not a continuation of the Netflix series that came before it. So I don't know how they're going to make that fit, but it's kind of, as the title says, a bit of a born again. Maybe they somehow acknowledge that the events took place, but it's not a continuation or a sequel.
Yeah, I think take what they want from it, and you can just leave the waters a little muddy. Who cares, right? You know, like you don't have to like port things that are bad over. And you said there was no releases for the Marvels, but Brie Larson did post a picture of her and Iman and a bunch of the other and all the other cast members kind of just chilling. So that was a cool shot.
Yeah,
so if you haven't seen
I
that,
wish we got to see some of those trailers. And there's a lot of other trailers that we did get to see. And if there's any other news at a D23, John, that you want to share, if anybody in the comments section, let us know. There, I kind of found D23 overall to be somewhat underwhelming. Again, there's that word.
What about the Disenchanted trailer, Rob? Did you not like the Disenchanted trailer? Since we're speaking of sequels, Enchanted 2 Disenchanted trailer did drop.
Oh, and you were also, I know, hyped on Hocus Pocus 2.
Oh man.
I did listen. I thought we were going to get an Indiana Jones 5 trailer. Like apparently they showed something there. We didn't get to see it. So I don't know. There's a lot. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp, they've shown that trailer twice now at Comic-Con and here, and we're still not getting it. Or the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which is coming out in just 3 months. We didn't get any info on that. So it is what it is, but I would like to have seen a bit more. All right. In other news, Amazon has canceled Paper Girls after 1 season. The show is being shopped around to other outlets. But, John, are you surprised that the show got the axe?
Not really. I think it was a victim of bad timing. Because you had, I think Stranger Things was in its mid gap, and it was like a part of the summer where everyone is typically busy. So it kind of sucks. How much do you think that the dropping everything at once formula hurts shows like this? Like at least if it was maybe 8 episodes or more, at least it would have been 8 weeks later before kind of like in people's minds, people talking about it, you know, other than it just dropped and it kind of, I think people stopped talking about it a week later.
Yeah, okay, right? Well, here, I'll play the flip side, John. If they released the first 2 episodes, then weekly after that, do you think that the show had enough momentum to be a buzzworthy show? Because after having seen it, and this is not me knocking the show because I enjoyed it for what it was, I don't think it would have had that power to be a buzzworthy show that would have had people tuning in week to week. Yeah.
Do you think they made that call after seeing it though? Because their formula for like things like The Boys and all that stuff is 2 or 3 episodes and then an episode at a time, right?
Yeah, and they did. So The Boys, they do it for Lord of the Rings, but they didn't do it for, say, Reacher. And Reacher had that buzz where everything dropped, and it continued to dominate the streaming charts for quite a few weeks.
Yeah. I think it might have been even big. Actually, you know what? You're right. It might have lost momentum because I think we kind of agreed that the first episode and 2 maybe wasn't quite there. And then it really starts to pick up after. But yeah, that kind of sucks for especially these young actresses and stuff. But have no fear. The comic book does exist. So if you want to continue the story, if like Rob said, it doesn't get shopped to another network, which I feel like it probably has a pretty good chance of doing. You can read the comic book, which is a full, fantastic looking book with so many things that happened that a TV show budget could never accomplish in this current generation, right? So we'll see how that goes and if people gravitate towards that. I do have plenty of these in stock. Store plug here.
And finally, John, a few weeks back, we talked about how Warner Brothers Discovery were trying to find their version of Kevin Feige. And rumor was that Dan Lin was the man to step into the role. Well, it looks like Dan has indeed stepped, but he has sidestepped away from the role, rejecting the offer that was presented to him. So it's back to the drawing board for DC Films. But with Black Adam only a few short weeks away, which, by the way, that trailer looked unbelievable. I'm starting to get the sense that we might see somebody from Dwayne Johnson's $7 production stepping into this position. Now, who am I? I could be completely wrong. However, it would not surprise me if that actually took place. But again, that trailer for Black Adam, it looks absolutely fantastic. It looks so polished and refined. It just looks, I got to be honest with you, John, it looks like it could really take some of that MCU momentum out of contention, especially with these last few movies that we've received. So what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, I really liked the trailer. I really liked seeing my guy. I think his name was Idris Hodge or whatever. The guy who played Voodoo in Friday Night Lights as Hawkman. It looks like he's got some juicy like parts and like some good dialogue coming in. I was worried that maybe he wasn't going to be that much in the movie, but who knows? We'll see. What are your thoughts of the idea that they're showing all the good stuff in the trailer and the movie is an actual disaster? Because I'm sure you've seen the posts of people saying that, oh, this movie is actually a complete mess, but they're doing a really good job selling it.
Well, I've actually heard that it actually is a fantastic. All the screenings apparently have been just bananas. So yes, we have seen that a lot of the times where you end up having, the marketing of a movie oversells it, and you go in there and it's giant.
Especially with The Rock. Well, I think we can both, and everyone in the chat can maybe agree that Rock doesn't bat 100. There's a couple movies that he's done that aren't there or have been overhyped. I know Rob saw Rampage in theaters. So shout out to that.
John. I don't know. Listen, I think Black Adam's going to do quite well for him, and I think for DC and Warner Brothers overall. So we'll see how it goes.
I think so. Yeah, like if it lives up to what the trailers are showing us, I think this is going to be a fantastic hit for DC, and God knows they need it.
Yeah. And the last thing, John, is a breaking news. He's there. He's everywhere. He's another Emmy winner. Brett Goldstein has won for Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy for Ted Lasso.
Hey.
Brett Goldstein, also Hercules in the MCU.
Hercules.
So that, John.
Roy Kent himself.
That's right.
That man hella hairy. I was not surprised when I saw him at the end. I don't know if we can talk about it, but shout out to Love and Thunder. I was like not surprised by this casting. I was like, oh, yeah, perfect.
There you go.
So shout out to that. Thanks everybody for sticking with us for the news. And let's anything else we want to cover, Rob?
No, it's 8:52. I say we rock and roll.
All right.
Into this is I just gotta say, first of all, thanks everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching us live tonight or afterwards, whether it's on your favorite streaming services, it's iTunes or Spotify, which John loves. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Heroes World podcast, myself, John, and Stu, last week we did a review of the Rings of Power, episodes 1 and 2. This week, I don't know, we'll figure something out. It will be ready for your ear holes and eye holes in the next few days.
Yeah, Rings of Power, and then before that we did Samaritan. Very mixed thoughts. And last week on this show we did Day Shift. So we covered a lot of fun stuff. Any walkbacks on that stuff? Any walkbacks on the stuff that we covered?
Nope. Tonight's topic though is John's been clamoring for this for the last few weeks, and he's been super excited. So we all know Top Gun Maverick dropped on streaming services. When was it? August 23rd or something like that. Yeah. So that's what sparked this idea. So again, if you want to order your copy of Top Gun Maverick 4K Ultra HD Steelbook, I've got a handy link in the description there. It's one of our Amazon affiliate links, or you can use any of our Amazon affiliate links to get any of the sequel movies that we talk about today. But sequels, Rob, do you remember what the first ever sequel to something you saw was? Would you be able to search your memory banks for something like that? Yeah, well, Empire.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I feel like that is probably actually. I was going to shout out Police Academy was the first thing.
Wow!
As a kid growing up, that you realize, oh, there's a bunch of these for some reason. I don't know why Police Academy, and I can't discern which ones are which ones, so I don't know if Police Academy 2 is actually better than Police Academy 1, or which one it actually is.
You make a very interesting point, John, because as kids, you didn't have the type of sequels that we have now. Right? Yeah, you're right. You had a couple Police Academies. You had Short Circuit 1 and 2.
Oh, Short Circuit 2.
Right?
I forgot about that one. That one might be earlier. No, I think that's around the same time. I think Short Circuit 2 is around the same time.
Yeah, so it was very rare. Porky's 2. It was really rare to have sequels to movies back then. Now it's common. It makes a little bit of cash. Well, let's make a sequel.
Yeah.
But back then it was super rare. And there was always movies that you wanted there to be a second one and it never happened.
Yeah.
So I think for me though, probably the one that I can remember would have been Empire.
Yeah. I do remember seeing it. I never got to see any of those Star Wars movies in the theater. They were all like at home VHS rentals.
Well, okay,
At the
so
time.
if you're asking the first one I saw in a theater, I can tell you what it was.
Oh yeah.
Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock.
Oh yes. Okay. That's where they.
Wait, or was it?
Does that have the bug? Does that?
No, that was Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. That's what it was. I saw the Wrath of Khan. I think it came out at the same time as Gremlins. So yeah,
okay. I think the first sequel I saw in theaters then was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze.
Seriously, that was in the 90s, bro.
I think so. Like I said, I grew up in a town that really didn't have a movie theater per se, other than like a drive-in or something like that. So hold on, let's jump to the chat for a quick second, and then Rob, I don't know if you have it, but I have my list of my top 3, and then hopefully that'll start rolling into.
Yeah, I didn't make a list. I pulled up a list of what a poll had stated what the best sequels. I kind of figured we'd have a lot of a chat with your stuff and whatnot.
So I'll shout out. So Lewis here, he says Terminator 2, The Dark Knight, Back to the Future 2, all solid picks. I'm not going to dispute any of those. Scott shouts out your Porky's reference. I feel like I probably mixed Porky's up with Meatballs. Were they similar themed movies?
No.
I thought they were like summer, like kind of like, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't remember Porky's. Lewis,
I think Scott and I are of a very certain vintage, maybe John, that you're just not quite there yet.
These movies that I just wouldn't have any known existence. I made this argument that I actually know a lot more of the Asian movies of that era, Jackie Chan and stuff like that. So Lewis shouts out Batman Returns, Rob, and we kind of did a teaser last week during our Lord of the Rings thing, and we asked Rob the question: does Batman Returns, which I know is one of your all-time favorites, does it trump the original Batman '89? So we're gonna talk a little about sequels, folks, and we're gonna talk about which sequels were like. I think we want to choose like sequels that are hands down better than the previous one. So did you give it any thought, Rob, on which of these two movies you win?
I gotta tell you, John, this has kept me up at night the last few days.
You're like,
it's
Jack Nicholson.
Actually caused me pangs of anxiety because I keep going back and forth. But
let us know in the comments what wins this fight: Batman 1 or Batman Returns.
I gotta say, John, I think Batman Returns wins.
Oh wow!
Which, by the way, I'm looking for these posters because I want to hang them up on my wall.
That's totally you, man. But what do you think it is that edges it out? Is it the Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer, or just the upgrade of his costume and everything like that?
No, I think it's the whole. I think it's the whole package. I think the inclusion of, the Penguin and Catwoman, the action in it. I feel that, yes, the costume looks a lot better than the first Batman costume. I love Batman '89, but I went to the theater and saw Batman Returns like 4 times in like one weekend or whatever. Like I told you guys the story before. I went to a buddy's cottage. They were all sleeping. I woke up super early. It was raining. And they only had like 3 VHS tapes, and Batman Returns was one of them. And I watched it like all long weekend, just over and over and over again, because there's nothing else to do except like get high and watch Batman Returns. So
one or the other. You couldn't do both.
No, I did both, but I just So I gotta say, Batman Returns is probably.
I think Batman Returns also had more accessible merchandise, because I think McDonald's did a whole line of toys. I remember the Batmobile that turns into a missile.
They did. They got a lot of shit for it too from Parent Council.
So it looks like sorry, who agreed with you? Fraser was saying Batman Returns also. And Steve is mentioning Christopher Walken. We always forget that Christopher Walken is also in that movie, and he is great as this kind of secret.
Why are you dressed up as Batman?
The secret third villain that's right. He's not on the poster, right? So it's kind of like cool. Yeah, Gordon says Batman Returns is a really good sequel. So I feel like we're gonna divert too much into the Batman realm, and let me get into some more of the comments before we get into I'll give you my quick top 3, Rob, and we'll see where you're at. Let's see. Chris says aliens with an S, with the Marines. I feel like this one is one of the ones that's up for debate. Alien 1 with Sigourney Weaver. You think Aliens 2 hands down is better than Aliens 1? Really?
Yes. Yeah. And not to take away from Alien itself, like that's a great sci-fi horror movie, but James Cameron like ramped up the excitement and the action and a bit more of that action horror element. So I would totally agree with Chris that Aliens is a much better movie than Alien, but I do like Alien. I would throw in Aliens before I threw in the first one.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I would definitely put on Aliens before, but I feel like number one is going to have that special Sigourney Weaver just kind of taking control of this horror movie that her character, like her, would normally have died, you know, act one or whatever, but she goes on through the whole movie and wins it, right? So let me give you my top three right now,
okay.
Rob, and then we'll get everyone else. Feel free to chime in with what else you got. And it looks like you guys are already blowing up the chat, so we'll try and catch up. Don't go too crazy, folks. But yeah, so my top three right now, Rob, and we'll see if anyone else's suggestions or maybe your list changes mine. But I think I can't put them in order, but Top Gun Maverick 100% is going to be on that list. I'd be very surprised if it's not on your list. How do you not like Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be very hard to dispute. Terminator 2, which I think is going to be undisputable. I used to try and be spicy and say I like Terminator 1 better because it had that horror element. But no, you can't deny Terminator 2. It's just so good. It's one of those movies that did get re-released to the theaters with the slight 3D enhancement that Rob was kind of talking about that Jaws got. And it was perfect. If they aired it again, it would have been cool.
I went back and saw it in the theater and I loved it.
Yeah. It was my first time seeing it in theaters because I was a little too young at the time. And then
you make me feel so old, bro.
Yeah. No, I just didn't get out to theaters. I didn't have easy accessibility to it when I was growing up. I didn't have a Markville Mall or whatever that I could ride my bike to. And then the other one is kind of like a secret. Maybe you forgot it was a sequel, but Winter Soldier, which is, I guess, Captain America 2. Like I've watched this movie so many times. It's still my top favorite Marvel movie. Nothing's managed to kind of top it in the amount of times I've watched it, or if it just kind of comes on, I end up watching the whole thing. So that's my top three. Everyone in the comments can go nuts with that. Rob, what do you think of my top three?
Listen, I think they're solid picks. I will say I'm surprised that Winter Soldier is in there. I don't know if it's because I feel like there's been such an oversaturation of the MCU stuff when you have like 32 movies, even though it's a sequel to Captain America. I just feel, for me, I would never. I have a tough time finding modern day movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices, right?
I mean, Maverick being the outlier to my argument only because it's a legacy sequel, right? Like. Yeah. It's 30-something years after the first one. So, but yeah, it's a solid list, man. I mean, listen, Terminator 2, you know, it re-upped what came before it, right? And that's what you want in a good sequel. That's why I like Aliens so much. Like, it took the base and re-upped it and added to that lore and made it. And like, look at the advancements in technology that Terminator 2 did. Yeah. Which helped birth, you know, all the other shit that we get.
Can you imagine? Like, we were kind of younger at the time when Terminator 2 came out. Can you imagine if you were of the kind of like age that you didn't know Arnold was going to be a good guy in this one? Yeah. And you were just watching it and you were just like, oh, here comes Arnold again. Oh, wait, he's the good guy. Like, how mind-blowing would that have been at the time? Like, that's crazy.
I want to highlight Scott has he put up here Superman 2. So I actually I wrote these down. I wrote Batman, Superman, because I have, for the longest time, always looked... I love Superman the movie, but I've always looked at Superman 2 as being so much fun to watch. But knowing what I know now about how the whole thing happened with Richard Donner and he got fired and then bringing Richard Lester in and then recutting Superman 1... It doesn't ruin the movie for me, but it kind of like, it takes a bit of that sheen off it. But I do...
It taints it, right? Because, you know, there's like not full vision of what they wanted.
Right. So I have a tough time because I really do like Superman 2. I don't know if I like it more than the original anymore, but I love those two movies. Like, I love watching those ones back to back. You know what I'm saying? So Scott makes a good point. Superman 2, it just might be better than the first one. Because when you got those three Kryptonian villains wreaking havoc in small town America, right? You can't get any much better than that. It was just so much fun. Just too bad Richard Lester decided to use the cellophane shield and throw and using the finger, the waving the guy around with his magical levitation powers. And you're on mute. You're on mute.
I think Family Guy did like a whole gag on it, right? And you're just like, was that real? And you're like, oh wait, that was real. Like, oh my god, like what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are talking T2 over T1, hands down. Winter Soldier, they're okay with my Winter Soldier pick. Sorry, I just want to get to a bunch of these before you get to your stuff. 22 Jump Street. What are your thoughts of 22 Jump Street?
I didn't think it pushed the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
How about Evil Dead 2?
Yes. Now that I would agree. I think Evil Dead 2 like blew Evil Dead 1 out of the water.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, so it's actually kind of like a reduxing of the whole idea of Evil Dead, right?
Yeah. It is essentially, yeah. More money was available to Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it again. But let's up the ante. A lot of people, listen, when we started talking about this, I mean, I had said like The Dark Knight, it's been mentioned. Godfather 2. Like, how do you, and I know that you haven't seen the Godfather movies whatsoever. And yet we're still friends, and that's okay. Just shows
I'll get to it. I have, however, seen this Universal Soldier 2. Which was the one with Goldberg and I think Keanu Tom and a bunch of and Michael J. White. I think I saw it in theaters and I don't remember a lick of it, so it's definitely not on the list.
I gotta pull something out here. Comic Book Craig, it says Young Guns 2 is better than 1, and I will wholeheartedly disagree. Okay. You can throw your John Bon Jovi theme song, which I will say is pretty damn sweet.
Blaze of Glory.
And, that's right. And you can throw in your Balthazar Getty in there, but it's definitely not nearly as good as Young Guns 1. Spider-Man 2, John. I haven't seen anybody mention Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire with Doc Ock. I mean, that for the longest time was considered to be one of the best comic book movies of all time.
This Batman versus Superman, would you consider it a sequel to Man of Steel? Comic Book Craig Movies mentions it. I feel like it's not.
It's set up to be a quasi sequel. I just wouldn't look at it as being a proper sequel. No.
Yeah, I think it's. I think you're right. It started off and then it got turned into something else. I think if you talk to people about the script and stuff like that, a lot of people. I think unanimously, Dark Knight is considered the better overall film. I would have tried to be spicy and say I liked Batman Begins more, but when we did the rewatch of the Dark Knight is incredibly good. So I can't deny that it's probably definitely better. What about X2? X2, Rob?
Yeah, actually, I will agree with that. I thought X2 was a far better movie than its predecessor. But again, that's because there's a whole bunch more budget was provided to Brian.
X-Men 1, it looks very budget. If we ever go back to it, Two Towers, I can't comment on that. I've only seen the fight scene from it, which is incredible. So if you're just basing it on that siege fight scene alone, 100% easy win.
Noah says the Suicide Squad is better than Suicide Squad.
Hey, easy win.
Here's a plate of gimme.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, 100%. It wins, but the Suicide Squad 1 had the potential, so maybe we'll one day see the cut. I think Back to the Future 2 has already been mentioned. We didn't get to this, Rob. We rewatched Back to the Future 1.
Yeah,
we did enjoy it, and upon reviewing it, we kind of, I think we both, and everybody in the chat kind of agreed, we kind of grew up more on Back to the Future 2. But I do feel like Back to the Future 1 is the better overall movie.
But I really, really like number 2. So much so, John, that my DeLorean is in the number 2 position here, which sounds
is in the floating.
Nice. There we are. Damn,
nice. Yeah. Nice. Get it.
It's in the hover. It's in the hover. That's what I'm Vulture magazine did a list of the 101 best movie sequels of all time. And obviously we're not going to go through all 101, but John, do you have even an inkling of what the number 1 movie would have been? And I will say Godfather Part 2 came in at number 2 on the list.
Number 2? What else could it be? if it's not Terminator, then I'm at a loss. I feel like no.
Hey, this one surprised me, John.
Okay.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Scott was mentioning Mad Max. I haven't seen them enough that I can determine which movie is from which stuff is from which one, right? Like, where's the hockey mask guy that's in the underwear? Is he from only the first one, or is he the second one? I don't remember.
Second one, I think. But there's that's technically the fourth Mad Max, though, because you had Mad Max, you had Mad Max 2. I can't remember, and then Mad Max.
So they probably mean sequels, as in just like movies after the first one, right? So yeah, it's not quite the same as our
as what we're So like, for instance, John, I think you and I, when we talked about this, we probably agreed Blade 2 might be a better movie than Blade 1.
I think action-wise and choreography-wise, it is, but I think Blade 1 is just tighter.
Okay.
Yeah. Blade 2, if you watch it again, it kind of goes, you know what? Actually, it's just the CG that looks really bad. You know, when he fights the ninjas and they look like Spider-Man, that looks really, really bad. And then there's another scene, but you might be right. Blade 2 might be more watchable. What about, so Lewis mentions Tron Legacy. Is that?
Yes.
Far
Tron
enough
Legacy
apart?
by far. And I think it's part and parcel because, I mean, the first movie came out in 1982, 83. And so obviously things, have vastly improved based on its, on technology. But I will say, I always found the pacing of Tron, the original Tron, to be very slow. Like it was like my kryptonite at times. Like,
it also looks ridiculous. If you ever go back and watch it, it looks really wild. Shout out to Comic Book Craig. Comic Book Craig, you're gonna have to let us know why you like. You don't have to justify, but just what about the first Suicide Squad that connects better with you? Is it? I did like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn when she kind of had the accent and the way she carried herself in that first movie. I did kind of like that version of her Harley Quinn. And you do get kind of a little Will Smith action in there. I don't know if we can talk about him yet. What about Blade Runner, Rob? I think this had come up before. We have Blade Runner, which sequel, right? Which our hot take was Blade Runner 1 is not as fun or as good as people make it out to be.
Well,
but
and the
Blade
problem
Runner 2049, I haven't seen, and it's your guy, Danny Villeneuve, right?
Yeah. Well, this is the problem: is that which Blade Runner are we comparing the second one to? Because the first one has like
20 different cuts.
But I would probably say I really, really like Blade Runner 20. Well, sorry. I quite enjoy Blade Runner 2049. If I was to put one of those on over the other, I would probably be the 2049 version.
Yeah, so you would watch that. Yeah. So Lewis says, Blade Runner Final Cut versus 2049. I feel like I would more enjoy Blade Runner, the original theatrical cut, even though I heard it is like the director's like least favorite version of it. But I feel like I needed that little bit of narration. Someone else mentioned something. Yeah, like I don't know if this would even count. Like Days of Future Past versus X-Men First Class, because First Class was a soft reboot, kind of.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's still so far into the X-Men that you can't really.
Yeah,
I would choose Days of Future Past over First Class any day of the week, anyways. Though.
Yeah, it's really hard to be able to judge when you have like 10 or 11 movies in a series. Like it's really difficult to. We're trying to do the immediate sequels, right?
Yeah, we're trying to go like one. Like so, you mentioned this one earlier, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
definitively better than A New Hope.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there's a lot more going on. I do like A New Hope because it's Luke's kind of origin story, but Empire Strikes Back, I haven't watched it in some time. I don't know which movie has Han Solo running up to the ship, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" or something like, "How you doing today?" or something like that. Whatever movie has that scene in it is freaking amazing.
What do you think about Deadpool?
Oh, Deadpool 2. I actually do like Deadpool 2 better.
Do you?
Being a comic guy, you kind of get bored with seeing the origin. So I'm ready to go, and it's got Colossus in it. It's got Josh Brolin as a Cable. So it's got a lot going for it. Like, I think you said you like one better, right?
Yeah, I think I found one. I think number 2 definitely has a lot more action and a lot more like comic booky stuff. But I found number 1 to be really like just like funny as hell. Like I really enjoy number 1.
Yeah, I think I have to rewatch 1 because I haven't watched it in a long time. And when I originally saw it, they gave away so many of the jokes in the trailers that I feel like it kind of got old fast. So I feel like I have to go back and check it out. Well, look at this. Oh, hey, Noah brought up a good one. No Way Home, better than Homecoming. No Way Home is the third one, though, right?
Yeah, because it was Homecoming, Far From Home, and then No Way Home. So it doesn't count.
But Homecoming is the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second one is
Far From Home.
Far From Home. I actually like Homecoming better than Far From Home.
Yeah, I think I do as well because I think Michael Keaton is just phenomenal as well.
Oh man, yeah. His the subtle way that he discovers everything in the car at the end. What about this one, Rob? John Wick 2. I think people definitively say it's the best John Wick.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, I really like John Wick 1. And gun to head, I would watch John Wick 1 over the other two.
Yeah, okay. I like John Wick 2, but I think it doesn't work without the groundwork put in from 1. So that creates a funny situation. So similarly, like Top Gun Maverick, you could make the argument Top Gun Maverick doesn't work without the groundwork from 1.
Sure.
Right? But oh man, if I couldn't just watch Top Gun Maverick over again easily without having to watch the first one, right? But John Wick, I feel like whenever you're going to go and watch your John Wick, whatever movies it ends up being, you are going to 100% start at number 1 and go forward. You're not going to skip and go to 2 and watch the new ones.
Compa Craig says 3 words: Wrath of Khan, which we had I had mentioned as Star Trek 2. I gotta say, out of those legacy Star Trek movies, I'm talking about like the original cast. I think number 2 is by far probably the best of the 6 movies. Although there's a lot of love for number 6, Undiscovered Country, but I think number 2 is the best of those legacy Star Trek movies.
Yeah. All right. What about the new ones then?
Oh, First Contact. Oh,
okay, what about the new ones?
Generation stuff.
What about the new ones then?
Oh, the new. No, you know what? I would say that the J.J. Abrams verse. No. I would say that first Star Trek movie he directed is by far better than the other 2. Even though he Justin Lin directed number 3, Star Trek Beyond. Yeah. Out of those that trilogy, I would definitely say the first Star Trek movie that J.J. directed.
The first one just hit all these marks. So yeah.
Oh no! What, Chris? That's it. What? Oh wait, Conan the Emperor are better.
No, he's saying the originals are better, which I think 100% he's right. Yeah.
Oh so god, Conan, I thought he was like
the Barbarian. Again, I used to like to be spicy and say Conan the Destroyer is a lot of fun with Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah, and it's got Arnold fighting on a horse, which I don't know other than True Lies if he ever kind of got around to doing again. And then it's got that mirror fight at the end, like a la Enter the Dragon.
It is horrible.
But yeah, no, 100% hands down. Okay. Yeah, Conan the Barbarian Predator.
At first, I thought he was saying that those sequels are better than the originals, and I was like, I will not take any movie with Grace Jones in it. That's not happening.
Yeah, I think you asked me this question before Fast and the Furious, and we're going to talk about 1 and 2. Fast and the Furious 2, while it does introduce my guy Tyrese, in it is not nearly as good as the first one. And the whole other movies, I think generally everyone considers Fast 5 the best one. What about the worst sequel you've ever seen, Rob? Like the most disappointing sequel? I've got a couple on the screen here. Robocop 2, which is ridiculous, but I feel like it's getting a cult following. Ghostbusters 2.
I don't think that's getting a cult following at all. I think
no, I think some people actually go back and actually quite like RoboCop 2, and even 3 gets kind of some joke, some respect.
Nobody likes 3 when he starts flying.
3 is ridiculous. I feel like 3 should be on a rewatch. Ghostbusters 2, the only good thing to come out of that movie was that Bobby Brown track, On Our Own, which you guys got to play. Put it on your Spotify right now. And Speed 2, which I never ever saw. It was so bad that even as a young kid with tons and tons of time on my hands and working in a video store, I never watched it. Speed 2. Okay. What are your thoughts?
Well, okay. Out of all 3 of these, I've probably watched Ghostbusters 2 the most, but I will say it's a very close tie with Speed 2, Cruise Control. I gotta say, I think the biggest disappointment would have to be Speed. Well, because I don't count RoboCop 2. So between Ghostbusters 2 and Speed 2, the biggest disappointment has to be Speed 2 because Like Speed was just so amazing, right?
Yeah.
With Keanu, and then nothing against Jason Patrick because I loved him in that movie Rush, which is one hell of a deep ass movie. But Speed 2, like it was just, yeah, man, it was on a boat. It was just, yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine I wasn't thinking like that type of thing at that time. I was just showing up to work or whatever. But I can't imagine what my boss must have felt after the hit that was Speed 1. And then Speed 2 Cruise Control comes out and there's a whole wall of Speed 2 Cruise Control. And man, if maybe only one person rented it or something. I don't know. I can't believe like what kind of disaster that must have looked like on the monthly tallies or whatever it was. Oh, okay. Steve might have won. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, is that the new top? That is terrible, right?
Yeah.
That beats those 3 hands down, I think. Actually, no, I haven't seen Speed 2, so Annihilation goes down in history as one of the worst movies I've probably ever seen.
I would have to agree with that.
Yeah, so I don't know. If anyone else has got some other contender, Die Hard 2 is okay. I don't think it's worthy.
You know, we did that rewatch, right? We did that. It's an okay, but definitely does not hold a candle to the first movie. Although I will say Die Hard 2, for its time, was better than a lot of the other action movies that kind of came around it.
Yeah. Shout out to Comic Book. Yeah, the only bad thing about Speed 1 is that bus jump. But if you get past it, it's a fantastic movie. What about sorry, something just came to mind. What was it?
Well, you had told me, John, a little while ago that you had a thing that you preferred. You were growing up. You and Chris, your brother, would sit down and you would watch these movies, and you always chose the second one because the second one was better. Yeah. And I never understood why you loved Teen Wolf 2.
Okay, so Teen Wolf 1 is Michael J. Fox, right? And he's playing. What's he playing? What's basketball, right?
Well, Teen Wolf 2 is basketball as well, but yeah, they both play basketball.
Did they both? I thought they switched the sport in one of them. The Jason Bateman one, I don't remember at all. But actually, the Michael J. Fox one, I feel like I've watched a bunch of times. Yeah, so I don't think I'd ever include that on any of my lists. I think that's one of those Michael J. Fox movies that you're not going to watch a lot of. Gremlins 1 and 2, I don't remember the difference between the two of them at all.
I remember the difference. Yeah, I'd have to say Gremlins 2 not nearly as good as the first movie.
Yeah.
You know, I went and saw Jaws, like I told you at the start of the show. I can definitely tell you all the sequels nowhere near as good as the first one.
Nothing. No good at all.
Same with the Highlander movies. Like those sequels are just like trash, man. Highlander 2, the quickening, it made like zero or whatever it was called, made zero sense to me. I was like, this is just trash. Yeah, I mean, I'm going through like the worst sequels of all time.
Jurassic Park. Steve mentioned Jurassic Park. I don't even recall ever seeing number 2, so I feel like Thor Dark World. Noah brings up Thor Dark World. I still have not watched that to this day.
Well, I guess then that means that one wins just based on
well, it'd be tied with Speed 2. It'd be tied with Speed 2. What would you recommend me watch, Speed 2 or Dark World?
I'd say we rewatch Speed 2.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. All right.
Yeah, I mean, like we could go on in the worst sequels of all time.
Okay. Hey, Wonder Woman 84. We forgot about Wonder Woman 84.
we are going to rewatch that. I swear to God.
No, we're never, ever.
But you know what? I really enjoy talking about sequels. But again, John, you know, the great thing about what are the best sequels is that, as I said at the beginning, you and I growing up, we didn't have a lot of sequels. It was a treat to get a good sequel. Then he started like into the late 80s, you started getting like The Problem Child 2 and you know
Look Who's Talking To.
Look Who's Talking To and House 2, The Second Story. Like you had all these like horror movies they always made sequels. So that was never like a rare...
yeah. Friday the 13th and
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, they would be in there. I feel like they all got to the double digits.
Yeah. So you always got those, but I meant like true sequels to great movies. It was so very rare to get them, and then when you started getting an influx of these sequels, very few bubbled to the top. All of them are just shit. Just, you know, hey, Mannequin 2 on the move. Like they were just going out and getting whatever money they possibly could. But I love talking about this, and so thanks for bringing it up. And I think that because of this, John, we've kind of decided what we want to do for next week.
I think we do. Like, it looks like everyone had a lot of fun in here, and I feel like we haven't gone back in the time machine in a little bit. We've been kind of doing a lot of modern stuff or talking about like more newer stuff. So I feel like taking a trip back will be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys, thank you everybody for tuning in. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on next week. So Rob has chosen a movie for next week, and it is sprung from this discussion. So hopefully you guys are still hype on it. Yeah, no, we're not. It's not Dune. Don't worry. Don't worry, Scott. It's not Dune. And it's.
I will tell you though, Scott, I suspect that Dune 2 will be on that list.
Yeah, and it's definitely not Wonder Woman 84. I don't think we're ever going to watch that again. Maybe 10 years from now. It is definitely not Kindergarten Cop 2, because how dare they make a sequel and have no Arnold Schwarzenegger in it? But what is it, Rob?
Well, this will be a sequel that does have Arnold in it, John. And next week,
speaking of Arnold,
it's on Netflix. We are watching Terminator 2.
Yes. So we're bringing back the classic. This is one of my all-time favorites. I don't know how many copies of this you own, Rob. I own, for sure, off the top of my head, I know I have the VHS special edition that came with 2 VHSs and had the first time that you saw the alternate ending.
Yeah.
I have one of the Blu-ray sets that came with a Terminator skull.
Yes.
And I think I have a bunch of other just regular DVD versions. I think I have one that comes with a picture of Sarah Connor that is the one that you see Kyle Reese always like looking at when you in the first movie. But yeah, I don't know. And I think I do own this on Laserdisc as well. I don't know if I'm going to dust off my Laserdisc. But Rob, Terminator 2, how many times have you probably seen it?
It's well over a dozen times. Well over a dozen. Like, I would say, if I said 20, it's probably about that.
Yeah. I think it would go if iTunes was tracking my replays of it. Yeah, it would definitely. I think I'm with you 10 or 20 times. At least.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you've watched it more. If I've watched this like close to between,
I think I've watched it. I probably have watched it more. Yeah, just because there was nothing else for me to watch. And Arnold is my guy. Oh, sorry, I missed this thing from Gordon here. I'll be back. So everyone bring your best Arnold Schwarzenegger line from Terminator 2. We're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all your favorite moments in the movie. We're going to talk about
the deleted scenes and should they have been deleted.
Oh yeah. Old Sarah Connor is not a good look. But Linda Hamilton.
The Kyle Reese.
Oh, the Kyle Reese scene. Yeah, I didn't mind that scene actually.
I did. I was like, I'm so glad it wasn't in there.
Yeah. Fraser said he's probably in triple digits. So yeah, 100%. I'm not surprised.
Well, it's on Netflix. So if you don't have a copy, which I don't know why you wouldn't have a copy in Blu-ray, but if you don't, that's cool. It is on Netflix. And you can definitely check it out and then join John and I next week. I'm actually pretty. It's funny because I haven't shown this movie to my son yet, John, and I keep talking. I know. I keep talking, saying I gotta watch this with you. Gotta watch this. So now this is great because this will give me an opportunity to show him one of the greatest action movies. Of all time.
So I mentioned I never saw it in theaters. Rob, did you see it in theaters originally?
Yes, 1991. I would have been 15. So yeah, I went and saw it in theaters.
Because what I did is I had the comic book. So every time back in the day movies would release, they would have a comic book adaptation for the younger kids that couldn't kind of go see it. And I remember I read the comic book and I had to show my dad that I had read the comic book and I was okay with it. And then he let me watch the movie. So shout outs to that. But yeah. So yeah, Lewis says Laserdisc. Yeah. So it was great for me to see it in 3D. So yeah, Talk to the Hand. No, we don't talk about Terminator 3. I don't think I'm ever going to watch that one again. So let's go back. Let's go back in the time machine, folks. What is this movie? 1992, Rob? 1991. We're gonna go back to 1991. We're gonna be saying a lot of hasta la vistas, a lot of I'll be backs, a lot of trust me's, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the heartthrob at the time that was Edward Furlong. Who was almost going to be the next DiCaprio or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Didn't work out. But shout outs to him. Good guy.
Yeah. Followed up with Pet Sematary 2. Oh boy.
Yeah, Pet Sematary 2, which was referred to in the Snyder Cut. I don't know. Flash, was it Pet Sematary 2?
Yeah, so we're excited. That'll be next week.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna do that. Shout out to Noah. I'm working on Stranger Things. One day it'll happen.
Every week after the show, we take a dog for a walk. He's like, "So when are you doing the Stranger Things?" I'm like, "Man," I actually said, "Bug John, don't bug me."
You guys can do it though. You anyone here can take over, and I'll help produce. But anyways, thank you everybody for joining in. It's always a blast. We missed you guys last week, so it was great to get back in here. And Rob, thank you again.
Thanks, buddy.
It was a quick break, but yeah, we're back next week with some T2 action. I don't know, whatever else we can come up with. Thank you everybody for always tuning in. And Rob's got to go walk the dog, right?
That's right.
Yeah, let's go walk the dog.
All right.
Peace out, folks.